Hola, ya hablamos de los mandatos informales con la forma tú y hoy vamos a continuar con los mandatos formales como usted y ustedes y también los mandatos nosotros. Si estás hablando a tu profesor, a la policía o el jefe, necesitas usar la forma usted. So we're going to be using usted commands today, which are obviously formal commands. Para crear los mandatos ustedes o usted, hay 3 pasos. Número 1, go to yo. Número 2, drop the O off the end of your yo ending. Y número 3, add the opposite ending. What the opposite ending means, and this is very, very important, is that if you have an AR verb, instead of using an A in your ending, you're going to now use an E. And for ER and IR verbs, now you're going to use an A instead of an E or an I in your ending. And we'll show some examples in a moment. Pero primero, un poema para memorizar estas reglas difíciles. Así es. For commands about usted, don't lose your head. Go to yo, drop the O, and add the opposite instead. ¡Qué lindo! Ahora vamos a practicar. Síganme, por favor. Si yo tengo el verbo tirar, primero voy a la forma yo, tiro. Hacer es un verbo go, hago. Elegir es irregular en la forma yo también, elijo. Ahora perdemos la O, ya no tiene, y tenemos tirar, ahora tir, hacer, hag, elegir, elige. Y finalmente, el mandato formal de tirar es tire. Y el mandato formal de hacer es haga. Y el mandato formal de elegir, elija. You've seen these kinds of commands before when your teacher is addressing the class. For example, when your teacher tells everybody to stand up, she or he says levanten, not levantan with an AR ending, even though levantar is an AR ending. The teacher is using a command. Okay, tenemos que añadir más información. Of course, there are always exceptions to every rule. In this case, car, gar, zar, and now her. We're adding those the new one to the ending. So they have special spelling changes in their formal commands, and they're very similar to what you've seen in irregular pretérito when you use car, gar, zar. Go ahead and pause your computer, your screen, and see if you can change these car, gar, zar, her verbs into a mandato. Here are your correct answers. The verb seguir was added because it's irregular in the yo form, sigo. So as our rule states, go to yo, drop the O, and add the opposite. So since the yo form is irregular and a stem changing verb, I keep siga as my correct answer. Here is a reminder of the rules. So if you have a car verb ending, a verb that ends in CAR, you need to make sure that you change the C to a QU and the E is added at the end because it's our opposite vowel ending. Same with the rest of the endings listed below. So now you know that if you have to say something politely to another person using an usted command, you would go to yo, drop the O, and add the opposite. For example, if you wanted to tell someone to listen politely, you would use the verb escuchar and you would say escuche. But if you were talking to a group of people, say for example a group of students, you would need to tell them to listen using an ustedes, ellos, or ellas command. To do this, all you need to do is add an N to the end of your command. So escuchar would become escuchen. Los mandatos nosotros. Using a nosotros command is the same as using the expression let's in English. You're making a suggestion that others do some activity with you. So this is a very similar way to conjugate as you've already been learning. You simply go to the yo form, drop the O, and add the opposite. The opposite of AR verbs is hemos, and the opposite of ER and IR verbs is amos. Ahora vamos a practicar. Pause your screen and attempt to conjugate the following verbs into the ustedes and nosotros commands. Estos son las respuestas correctas. You can see that on number 4 and 5, the yo form of the verb cerrar is cierro, It's a stem changing verb, ir a IE, and the yo form of volver is vuelvo, also a stem changing verb, O to UE. We keep the stem change when we use ustedes or usted commands, but we lose the stem change as we always do because nosotros never stem changes. So the mandato for nosotros, cerrar, is cerremos. Estos son nuestros verbos irregulares en la forma mandato. Miren, ¿por qué son verbos irregulares? The reason these are irregular is consider what the yo form of these verbs is. Dar in the yo form is doy, estar, estoy, ir, voy, saber, sé, y ser, soy. So, unlike our rule, we can't go to yo and drop the O because the yo form does not have an O ending, which is why these are irregular. Keep that in mind next time you forget which verbs are irregular. Necesitan recordar, con dar y estar tenemos acentos. Without that accent over the E in dar, you would get the word from or of. So you need to make sure you remember your accents. Pay special attention to the verb ir in the mandato nosotros. It is a bit confusing. To say let's go, think about Dora. She doesn't say vayamos, she says vamos. However, the negative form to say let's go, or let's not go rather, is no vayamos. So just you need to memorize that. To clarify, nosotros commands is the same as using the expression ir plus a plus infinitive, but ir in the nosotros form. Vamos plus a plus infinitive. For example, to say let's eat at a restaurant, I can say vamos a comer al restaurante, and it means the same thing as let's eat at a restaurant, comamos al restaurante. There's no difference. To say let's go, you could use vamos a or the nosotros command.